Good morning. It's Thursday. This is Shades, aka Mr. B's Shades of Clarity channel. Hope everybody is doing well, keeping it real, staying sober. If you're trying to get sober, stay tuned, stick around, check out the channel, check out some other people's channels. Just check out the channels. Hope everybody is enjoying their morning. Before I get into it, I'd like to say this episode of Shades of Clarity is unofficially sponsored by Mallow Cup and Foster Grant Sunglasses. That out of the way, I'd like to take a minute to mention the source of the Mallow Cups, the person that is a neighbor. And I've just found out that hospice has been coming to his house, and it's not cancer. Come to find out, the fellow's been drinking God knows how much whiskey for extended periods, and he has not gotten the help, nor has he sought help. So his organs are failing, and it's just a matter of time. So I'll let you know, but I just like people to pray for him. He's a cool guy, you know. He just, when he would go to the PX on base, he would pick up, you know, candy because he knew that I liked these things, and he would just buy them and give them to me. Sorry, Rocky, that's his nickname, that all this happened, but I knew he had drank a long time ago, but I didn't know how he had fallen and broken his hip, and from there it's just been apparently a gradual downward spiral. And I thought he had sobered up in the hospital, but I guess not. Anyway, what I'm going to talk about today is hangxiety. And what the hell is that? What's hangxiety? I know what a hangover is, but I've never heard of hangxiety. Hangxiety is a kind of a peculiar phenomenon that towards the end of my drinking, that's all it was, is that feeling of apprehension and anxiety upon waking up in the morning. You may have a hangover. Hangover does generate a level of anxiety. I mean, that's everybody sort of knows that. But what about when you don't have a hangover? You don't have that, you know, feeling that your head is expanding from the inside out and can explode at any second. No, it's not that. Because I wasn't getting that anymore. I just felt shaky and terrified. There's been a couple of times, you know, maybe being on the verge of a panic attack. Also sponsored by Food Line French Vanilla, unofficially. But the symptoms are just unease. Again, the feeling of apprehension. Some people have had panic attacks or feel like they're going to have a panic attacks. Some tremulousness, and it's caused by, I mean, it's like the hangover. It's one of those questions that can never really fully be answered. Congeners, those additives, things that are put into wines. And bourbons for flavoring. Sometimes they put it for flavoring for the preservatives in it. Can cause that. Congeners may be they're definitely a factor in hangover. Dehydration, just not, you know, you peeing a lot the night before and you just pee it all out, and you know, alcohol will do that. The low blood sugar might be a cause of it. It's suggested that men and women have no more than 14 standard drinks. You know, one shot of liquor or one can of beer, one glass of wine, no more than 14 per week. And us alcoholics were like, hell, we drink that in a single day or night, twice that, you know, I guess. Maybe beers. If you're Andre the Giant. They say he once drank 14 beers on a flight from Paris to New York, or either it was New York to Paris, one or the other. I don't know why wrestling like entered the conversation, but yeah, he did. But hangovers, I'm sure, as big as he suffered his hangovers and hangxiety. But it is truly just a nasty, nasty feeling. The heebie-jeebies. I've heard it. I mentioned that in another video. You know, that, I think that's an Irish term, maybe. Not hangover, not that, but that just terrible feeling of impending doom is what I felt like. And it's like upon wakening up, you know, like your eyes pop open and you're instantly just seized by these unseen hands of something, you know, that wants to do you in, but you can't see it. It's invisible. That's what the hangxiety feels like, and it can be really terrifying. When I saw a guy on another sober channel saying he thought he was going to have to go to the hospital because he was having panic attacks, and I was actually listening to him talk about hangxiety that gave me the idea for this video. I don't want to, you know, condone this. I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not qualified to prescribe anything or solve any medical issues, make any diagnoses. I want to state that up front, please, if you're having a problem with substances or you would like to stop drinking, please contact your primary care provider for the answers or suggestions. But there's really, hair of the dog would probably be the only thing that would get rid of it. And then maybe if you decided to quit, maybe taper it down a little bit if the drinking hadn't been that tough. Tapering can be possible, but you just can't. Number one, you can't have been drinking an excessive amount, and two, you cannot have been drinking for an extended period of time. So maybe, and it depends on what your drink of choice is. If it's beer, or if it's not beer, switch to beer and then just kind of, you know, ease the hangover out or the hangxiety out during the day, and then you should be okay. It takes about 12 hours, I would say, to subside in my experience. I had one hangover that lasted, or two hangovers that I remember that were just terrible, and both of them involved red wine, and both of them lasted. I couldn't get out of bed both days. Jägermeister caused one of those. You know, never, it just the look or the smell of black licorice is just, you know, that traumatic experience from that hangover. That definitely left a mark on me as far as my aversion to liquor, and especially Jägermeister. Master of the hunt. It's the master of creating terrible hangovers is what it is. I have no use for it. But things are going good. I just thought I would do a short video on hangxiety. I'm sure you've experienced it at some point if you drink excessively. And another reason, it's basically you bombard, you know, your system with this depressant, which is ethanol, alcohol. You know, let's say you go on a binge at night, you go out with some buddies, some friends or whatever, you go to a club or you're bar hopping, pub crawling, whatever you want to call it, and you finally, you stop drinking or whatever, you had enough, you go to sleep. Now a hangover is a mild form of alcohol withdrawal. That much is known. You know, you hit that system really, really hard, and it pounds your Gaba into the dirt, and then you have, you know, your excititory neurotransmitters like cortisol. I've mentioned that, norepinephrine. There's a rise in that, so you don't have that homeostasis, that balance, and of course you're going to be, you know, feeling on edge. Even without the hangover, but that's basically hangxiety. In a nutshell, I just figured I'd do a video on it because it's that, watching that guy's video, and it was pretty bad, what the anxiety that he described, you know, being on the verge of a panic attack, and he didn't know what was happening, you know. So I guess he had Googled it and found that term, and said that it was just bad. It was awful. I hope you guys, for the ones out there that are struggling, I want you to know that I love you, and I like the people that follow this channel, and I really appreciate it's picking back up. If you like the content, please subscribe, and down in the comments I always answer every single one of them. So please leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know about your experiences with Hangxiety or terrible hangovers. Take your pick. I'd prefer to hear some Hangxiety stories, however. Maybe what you drank, and maybe we narrow it down and see, if there's some correlation between what you're drinking. As always, stay tuned, and I will see you later.